How's it going, everyone? Brad Kelly here, going to talk about the first day of practices at the Senior Bowl, and in particular, the wide receivers against the defensive backs. I did not make the trip to Mobile this year, but after watching the practice film, and in particular, paying close attention to the wide receiver against defensive backs, one-on-one reps, just a little stock up and stock down type of analysis for the wide receivers, who stood out and who has some work to do for the rest of the week. Among the winners, I think the first guy that really stood out to me was Cade Johnson from South Dakota State, a wide receiver, checked in at 5'10", 186 pounds, but a former FCS All-American in 2019, was also actually more productive as a sophomore in 2018. Didn't have a season this year, so he's really been preparing for this week for a while. And it's an important piece of his evaluation due to the fact that they did not have a season this year. His first day, and especially in the one-on-one periods, was very strong. Showed his ability to release against press coverage, used a shuffle release, and really kind of crossed up the defensive back on a slant. One down the field, was really separating very consistently all day in those one-on-one periods, for the entire period, really. He was definitely a standout. He also fought through contact against the safety, which is an important trait for him as an undersized receiver to be able to do. Made a nice down the field toe tap along the sideline type of play. So really encouraging day one for Cade Johnson, coming from a lower level at South Dakota State. A couple other standouts among the wide receivers: Shi Smith from South Carolina, another player who is checked in at 5'10" and 186 pounds. Slot receiver for sure, showed a lot of separation on horizontal breaks, really kind of leaving defensive backs in the dust. Very particularly defined route runner. A lot of acceleration, short area quickness, and the angles of his routes are very strong. And when he's going across the field, he'll even come back downhill to really shield the catch point away from the defensive backs. Really strong, refined, developed player. Was a fourth-year senior this year for South Carolina. Has been productive. Has never quite been the guy at South Carolina due to playing with Deebo Samuel and Brian Edwards, but this was his first year where he was the go-to target, and I think he played very well. And despite a quarterback situation that was less than ideal, really encouraging day one for Shi Smith. Same could be said for Dwayne Eskridge of Western Michigan now. He's going to be 24 years old. He's just a shade under 190 pounds. And he came from the MAC. And he switched positions. So he's kind of been back and forth between wide receiver and defensive back, playing the positions. But his traits for a wide receiver are awesome. He's very explosive. He's very quick. His ability to accelerate is seen all over his film, and that's in his route running and after the catch. One rep in particular that stood out was he was able to release on a crosser against press coverage on a crosser, but the throw came in high, and he was still able to go up, extend, full extension over his head, and catch it and secure it as he hit the ground. So that's something that is definitely going to translate to the next level. That was kind of a missing piece to his evaluation, in my opinion, based on his film. A few other impressive performances: Nico Collins from Michigan, big-bodied, opted out of this past season, but had a really impressive vertical rep. Ran a burst corner route, so you inside release, get vertical. You're going to fake to the post, a little quick fake to the post at the top of the route, and then get to the corner. And he was able to do that, really sell that post move, and then make a two-foot drag along the sideline. Austin Watkins from UAB had a very similar rep, the same route, but he kind of crossed the defensive back up at the top of the route. The defensive back went flying towards the post, and Watkins was essentially uncovered to the corner, made a nice adjustment over the shoulder for the touchdown on that play. Cornell Powell from Clemson, another guy who is a shorter but kind of broader and strong wide receiver who was really twitchy, showed multiple types of route breaks yesterday. He really came on throughout his redshirt senior season in 2020. Late in the year, and really his trajectory was really pointed up, especially the way he played in the playoffs and in the national championship game. A strong start to the week for him. If that continues, we're going to talk about Cornell Powell as a potential top 100 draft pick. despite the fact that about 4 or 5 games into his redshirt senior year, he had essentially minimal production. But his trajectory is definitely pointed in the right direction. A few other guys that really, I thought, had strong showings in those one-on-one periods. Cadarius Toney from Florida. Now, he is he moves in a way that not a lot of wide receivers or people in the world really can move. His agility, his balance, his flexibility, his explosiveness are all elite. And when he pairs those moves together, it can be really impressive. A few times during the one-on-one period, he was able to win vertically down the field. They gave him a free release, and he was able to separate vertically. And another one, the defensive back was playing so far off because of a fear of getting beaten deep. He used a rocker step during his stem. The defensive back got a little crossed off back onto his heels, and then Cadarius Toney ran a curl, caught the ball, gave a little quick fake over his left shoulder, and then ran to his right, and the corner got crossed up again, trying to make the two-hand touch basically to end the rep. Couldn't even get a hand on him. So Cadarius Toney could be really special, especially after the catch and on short intermediate routes in the NFL. But if you give him a free release, he's going to separate down the field too. Now, he did have a rep where he was able to get loose down the field, but lost in a contested situation. And that's something that has plagued him on his film throughout the season. If his draft stock is going to improve this week, I think he needs to prove the fact that he can win while he's tightly contested over the last 2 days of practice. One other guy I would definitely need to mention is Demetric Felton from UCLA, kind of a hybrid wide receiver, running back, has played both positions at UCLA. A lot of guys have compared him to maybe a Nyheim Hines from NC State, who was kind of another hybrid wide receiver, running back type. Felton looked really refined in his route running, very advanced as a route runner, which is impressive considering he spent this most recent season, playing running back. He could be a hybrid and special type offensive weapon. Get him rushes and you get him receptions in the NFL. A couple other guys who had strong days, I should say. Off the top of the head, Tyler Wallace from Oklahoma State had a few nice reps. Amari Rodgers had a few as well. Josh Palmer from Tennessee and Trevon Grimes as well had some nice reps and one-on-ones. I don't think everything was perfect for them, but a few good and impressive reps where they could really build on those moving forward. Two guys that I thought struggled throughout the one-on-one periods as far as wide receivers go. Ben Skoranek from Notre Dame really struggled to separate, I thought. Was kind of sluggish in his route breaks, showed some physicality, which is something that he had shown in this most recent season at Notre Dame after he transferred as a graduate student from Northwestern. And his ability to win above the rim really flashed on his tape, but he was really unable to separate and uncover during the one-on-one periods. I don't believe he made a reception, or maybe he made one. And then the last one would be Racey McMath from LSU, checked in at 224 pounds, but looked like he was moving like a tight end. I believe he had 0 receptions and 2 drops during those one-on-one periods on 5 or 6 reps. Just another guy struggling to separate, kind of sluggish on those horizontal breaks, and the corners were basically attached to his hip throughout the period. And the times that he was able to kind of create a passing window, the ball went through his hands. So those two guys definitely could have a rebound day today. They need to improve on what they showed yesterday and turn that week around. So that's kind of the wide receiver report for day one of the Senior Bowl practices. After looking and breaking down the film over the last about 12, 14 hours, I've been really digging deep. I've rewatched all the reps, 7-on-7, and team periods as well. Make sure you keep your eyes out. We're going to do a few more wide receiver recaps of the Senior Bowl. There's going to be a lot of videos posted on this channel from the Senior Bowl, and in particular the wide receivers and the defensive backs in one-on-one. Thank you for watching.